Despite what you might have heard, people still continue to move to Salt Lake City, Utah. In this video, we're talking about everything you need to know about why people continue to move here. Inflation is cooling, COVID is long gone, and I think we're all ready to jump into 2025. So in this video here, we're talking about why people continue to move here, the good things that people are looking for, and what continues to drive people here to the area. Now, there's been a lot of changes over the last couple of years. Interest rates are up, home prices did dip down, but they've actually recovered to about the place they were roughly 2 years ago, and they're expected to kind of climb over the next couple of months. I've covered the market statistics and what I think the market is going to do, as well as what it has done in other videos. So we won't be talking about that here in this one. But that being said, people continue to make a move here, and there's a couple of really good reasons why they choose to do so. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, guys, my name is Cody Steck, your favorite Utah realtor. I've helped hundreds of people make a move here. And from videos just like this, I've had literally over 1,000 people reach out over the last 5 years asking for information about moving here. And like I said, hundreds of those people have moved here. So if you're in the position where you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, whether you already live here or you're thinking about making a move here, please reach out. My name is Cody Steck. Again, my information's here on the screen. Call me, text me, email me, anything I can do for you. I'd love to help you give an assessment on your situation and see what makes the most sense for you and your financial bottom line. Now, that being said, let's jump into the video here and talk about why people continue to move here. So number one on our list, this is actually something that I've not really talked about before, but it's something that I get reminded of every time I go to another major city. You know, Salt Lake City, although it is growing, it is kind of like a, let's say, a medium size, maybe even growing into a little bit of a larger size city or metro area. We're still much smaller than a lot of other large cities. So whether you're looking at cities like Los Angeles or San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Miami, Austin, Dallas, all of these major cities across the United States, just to name a few, are much bigger than Salt Lake City. So a lot of people end up making the move here because they want to get out of that hustle and bustle. Now, don't get me wrong, Utah and Salt Lake City specifically still has traffic. We've still got urban sprawl. We've still got, very large areas of land that are very well developed, but it does get you away from the hustle and bustle you find in these other major cities. Life here in Utah is mostly suburban. It's mostly kind of spread out. And yes, you do get some of that traffic. You do get stores and shops that are busy, but it doesn't overwhelm you like you can find in other major cities. So that's a thing that I think a lot of people really enjoy. Now, if you're coming from a smaller area, maybe you're coming from a small town or something like that, don't worry, you can still find that. If that's really kind of more of your speed of life, you can still find that within roughly 30 to 60 minutes of the city or the metro area, right? You can go west to Tooele, you can go south, you can go north, you can still find these smaller parts of town that are still pretty quiet. It just depends on what you're looking for. So it is kind of a nice break from the hustle and bustle you find in other major cities. Now, the next thing that continues to pull people to the area, this is actually probably number one on the list, is the job growth that we have here in the area. I would argue that probably 85 to 90% of the people that reach out from videos just like this, maybe you're one of them, is in a position where you've got a new job, you've got a new opportunity to come here and work for a new company or build a business or do something of that sort. The job growth that we're seeing here across the state is absolutely immense. It's actually kind of crazy to see. For me, having lived here, being born here, raised here, and now being a part of society, it's actually kind of crazy to see how things have changed over time. But the job growth here continues to expand and continues to pull more people in. Like I said, there's a ton of tech jobs, there's finance jobs, there's healthcare jobs, there's construction, there's shipping. There are so many jobs here in the area because it's a great place to live. Employers want to be here. It's very business friendly, it's tax friendly, and people realize that, hey, Utah is actually a pretty good place, right? Maybe if you want finance, you go to New York, or you think of New York, right? If you're thinking acting, you think of Hollywood. But Salt Lake and Utah in general is starting to become an area that more employers and businesses are starting to consider for either starting a business, moving a business, or expanding the one they already have. And that being said, there's already a lot of highly skilled talent here. And with these jobs, finance, healthcare, tech, it's bringing in more and more talent to the area, which is just going to continue to expand the desirability for these different companies to open up jobs here. Now, number three on our list, the reason why people continue to move here is because of the weather. Now, yes, you do get all four seasons here. I've talked about this at length on some of my other videos, but if you don't know, Utah does get all four seasons. We have hot and dry summers. We have very mild and enjoyable spring and fall time, but then during the winter, you get wet, cold weather. Now, we're not talking about cold weather that gets down to like 0 degrees, -10, -20. That's kind of crazy. Fortunately, we don't get that low. Usually we're sitting somewhere between 20 to 30 degrees through the winter months. We get snowstorms maybe every couple days or maybe every other week or so. It really just depends, right? It's not up to me on when that happens, but we do get snow, we do get some colder weather, but it's not unbearably cold. You can still kind of get out and do things, walk the neighborhood, go to the park, just kind of do your normal functioning life, which is really great. So you get all four seasons here, and the weather is really enjoyable. You can escape to higher elevations. You can get up to Park City or Snowbird or maybe Bryan Head in southern Utah to get out of the heat during the summer, and you can also go to those same exact places to ski during the winter. So the weather and the desirability between the four different seasons brings a lot of people here. I talk to a lot of people who say, yeah, I moved here from Texas or Florida where it's just hot like year round, right? Even during the winter, you might see 60, 70 degrees, but it's just hot and humid year round, and a lot of people are looking to escape that. So depending on where you're coming from, this may be a new change for you, or you may already be used to it, right? If you're coming from one of the surrounding states, you're probably used to the four seasons. Maybe you're coming from the Northeast where, yes, you do have the four seasons, but it's going to be a little bit different, right? Here in Utah and just kind of this general region, because of the dry air, it is a change for a lot of people coming from either coast or even just back east anywhere that way. So again, weather, a big driver for why people continue to move here. Now, next up on our list, we have to talk about the housing here and just the general cost of living here in Salt Lake and the surrounding area. Now, yes, housing has gotten expensive. In fact, if you look back 6 or 7 years, home prices have doubled during that time, which is kind of crazy when you really think about it. But there's been a lot of pent up demand during that same exact time. COVID absolutely changed everything. But really, it comes down to a lack of housing supply, as well as some other things that we won't talk about here in this video, but basically just restrictions on housing over the last 10 to 15 years that has really pushed prices up because we don't have enough inventory to support the demand that's here in the area. However, that being said, housing is still very desirable here. If you're used to other areas, one thing that people always talk about when they look at housing here in Utah is how big the homes are and how much space there is, right? We typically have larger lots than you'll find in other metro areas, and also the homes themselves are going to be pretty big, right? Even for a medium-sized home or medium-priced home, you're looking at roughly 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. Even townhomes are pushing that amount of square footage for the new ones that are being built today. It is not uncommon to find 3, 4, 5,000 square foot, even 5 to 10,000 square foot homes when looking at the luxury prices. So again, for most of the homes that people are shopping for here, 5,000 square feet is not out of the question. You can find these big homes. You can find big lots. You can find homes with RV parking for your RV or your boat or your side-by-side, whatever it might be. You can find that here. And again, depending on where you're coming from, it may or may not be a reasonable price. If you're coming from another major city, then you might be looking at the housing that we have here and think, wow, I can get that much square footage for this price. That's a great deal. But if you're coming from, let's say, like maybe the Midwest or an area where it's very, very cheap, it's going to look expensive for you. So again, I'd say that probably 75-80% of the people that reach out are from other major cities making a move here, and they're going to think that our housing is actually really, really desirable, especially if you go to some of the newer areas, Saratoga Springs, Lehigh, American Fork, maybe you go up north to like Syracuse, Kaysville, Layton. You find some of these new communities, you can get some really amazing homes for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money, but you can get amazing homes. And again, if you're looking at $1 million, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 million, you can get an amazing home, tons of property, tons of space, lots of garage space, a big yard, maybe a swimming pool. You can get all of that at that price point. So really quick, guys, if I can help you in any way to either find your next home, sell the home that you currently have, or maybe invest in real estate here in Utah, please reach out, call me, text me, email me anytime. I love hearing from you guys. Like I said, literally over 1,000 people have reached out over the last 5 years from videos just like this, right? People all around the world, here in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and even other countries across the world. So it's pretty crazy to see. If I can help you in any way, please reach out, call me, text me, email me. My information's here on the screen again. I would love to hear from you. Now we've got a couple more things to talk about here, and these are actually really, really important things when it comes to living here in Utah. One of the things that gets mentioned all the time when people move here is the sense of community that we have. Every time when somebody comes into town to actually look at homes or to look at different areas, they always comment on how nice people are, how accommodating people are, how kind they are. They actually smile, they actually talk to you, and there's just a sense of community here in the area that is really, really powerful. I don't think you get this in a lot of other areas, especially other major cities, because people just kind of keep to themselves. They're reserved. Maybe they grew up thinking, hey, stranger danger or whatever, but generally speaking, people here in Utah are pretty welcoming, pretty friendly. Well, it doesn't really matter where you live. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your ethnicity or your religion or what politics you like. These things don't matter, right? Generally, people here have a really good sense of community. They're nice, they're friendly. And that's something that I would really like to see continue because it makes for a great, enjoyable experience while you're living here. I think this is something that's really important because you also get other side effects from this. You also get the fact that you've got really low crime here in the area. You don't have a huge homeless population, especially outside of the city of Salt Lake. You get out into the suburbs, it's pretty non-existent for the most part. And you also generally just get good people with good values who, you can generally trust and, don't really have to worry about. So again, I think it's a huge positive, and a lot of people actually comment on the same exact thing when they come visit as well as after they moved here. Now, overall, guys, the lifestyle that you're going to experience here in Utah is a big driver for why people continue to move here. When you combine all of these things together, whether it's the sense of community, the cost of living, the weather that we have here, the job growth and opportunities that exist, there's so many things that bring people here to the area, and it's incredibly powerful. I think there's a lot of desire here for the area. I think it's going to continue to go that direction. I think people are going to continue to find out that, hey, Salt Lake and the surrounding areas is actually a pretty nice, decent place to live. Maybe it's going to be a fit for you. Now, of course, no area is perfect. Not every single area is going to be a fit for every single person, but for a lot of people, Utah checks all of those boxes. Again, guys, if I can help you in any way, please call, text, or email me anytime. My team and I would love to hear from you. My information's here on the screen. And again, we'll catch you in the next one.